So far, it was largely the philosophers who studied human consciousness, but a serious effort to understand consciousness and walk the path towards ultimate reality was made at the MIT World Peace University in the form of the world's first conference on consciousness, the ultimate reality. Many eminent personalities, speakers, thinkers, and philosophers from all over the world share their thoughts on this subject during this conference. Journey into Mind, Consciousness, and DNA and Origin of Thoughts was the subject of discussion by Anandi Ravinanth, the trustee of Innerlight Foundation.
So mind is a storehouse of enormous amount of information. Now every emotion has got a form at the macro level. We have facial expressions for every emotion. So at the micro level also, every emotion has to have a structure or a form. Now the prerequisite for any information storage is that it has to have a format and it has to have a medium. Now the format which mind uses to store information is the thoughts or thought particles, and the medium is DNA. In DNA, there are 4 nucleotides ATGC. So perhaps these thoughts are stored in a 3-dimensional configuration. So this ATGC which exists in the DNA in the double helix, it's got a 3-dimensional conformation, and this 3-dimensional conformation has got probably the information of thought. So mind is in your DNA, and thoughts are the signals used by the mind to send and receive information. Thoughts are photonic in nature, and they are subatomic, so they have both wave-like and particle-like nature. They must be perhaps traveling faster than light, and they cannot be bound by space and time. So mind is your DNA. Now mind in its DNA in subtle form is the mind. DNA in its photonic light form is our individual consciousness. Our mind is always cluttered with thoughts. There are billions of thoughts going on in our mind. In fact, a study by Harvard scientists, they found out that we generate almost 80,000 thoughts per day. So you can imagine the amount of thoughts which are generated by the mind, stored in the mind, processed in the mind. So as we start practicing meditation, the number of thoughts that keep playing in our mind field starts decreasing. And over a period of time, you find that a lot of mind gets cleared. You feel your mind has become, you get into a feeling that your mind has become transparent. So spiritual enlightenment perhaps starts at the DNA level. Is consciousness intrinsic to DNA? I would say yes. Because if you look at DNA, it's a nanomolecule, but it's a giant nanomolecule. It is made up of 3.3 billion base pairs of these nucleotides. 2 meters of DNA is packaged inside the nucleus, which is just 2 millionth of a pinhead. And if you consider the information storage capacity of the DNA, the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology has done a lot of research to find out if DNA can be used as a storage medium. They have indeed found that DNA can be used as a storage medium, but they are able to store the information, but they are not able to retrieve it. And they have found that 1 gram of DNA can hold 455 hexabytes of information. 1 hexabyte is 1 billion gigabytes. So that is the enormous amount of information that our genome stores. So we have seen the dimension. The other part of the dimension is it is 120 times narrower than the shortest visible spectrum, violet light. So it is so subtle that it cannot be seen, but it is so giant that so much of information can be stored. Now if you come to the function part of it, there are thousands of biochemical reactions taking place inside our cell every picosecond, and the controller is DNA. So this is not possible if the DNA were not associated with the mind and consciousness. So almost we are made up of some approximately 100 trillion cells, and all these 100 trillion cells are held together by our soul force or the Atmic force, which cannot be seen. It's a continuous field of energy. Our individual consciousness represents an continuous field of energy. Now, there were two scientists, British physicist Peter Marser and German mathematician Walter Kemp. Now, they both proposed that DNA is like a gyrating, live, oscillating device. It's like a radio device which is able to pick up information and transmit information. According to them, the base pairs form a carrier frequency with a lot of data stored, and that is how they described DNA as human DNA as a stack of several CDs with a biography written on it, and that biography is our life story.